All right, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. I am here because we are in the new decade. And one of the things that came out in California is what's called the Ccpa, or the California Consumer Privacy Act. And it's kind of a big deal. It's one of the three main laws that passed. And really, what is it even about? Who does it even apply to? Why does it benefit us, or does it even benefit us? There's a lot of questions going around it. And I'm going to go through and kind of explain it. I have my laptop open. I'm not going to read you an article because that's a waste of my time and your time. I want you guys to go out there and actually read it yourselves and come to your own conclusions. But I'm going to kind of give the main points of it, at least, some exclusions, and see who it benefits, kind of the obstacles that are going to be facing here, and how you can use this act now. So basically, this classifies companies that hold data, and these companies, so basically it's for companies that collect the personal information of 50,000 people or more every year, as well as businesses with an annual revenue of 25 million or above. And what they're saying is that those defined companies, if they collect data on you, you have the right to actually request what data they have on you, right? And you can, and another thing is you can opt out from your data being sold. So there should be a very clear and big disclaimer thing when you go see a website, or you go on something where it's like, hey, do you want us to sell your data? Or hey, do you want to opt out of selling your data? You can hit yes or no. I don't care. It has to be way more obvious instead of saying, hey, we use cookies on this website, hit I accept, where it was kind of forced. So basically, the two things about this law is, one is you can request for data on you that the company has. And then number two is you can say, hey, do not sell my information, right? Oh, and I'm sorry, you can also say, hey, delete my information as well, that they have that has been collected. So those are the two biggest things about this. Then this is a big deal because California houses the most, if not all, of the data companies here in California. I mean, you're talking about Silicon Valley, Google, Apple, you name it. There's so many big companies here. And then not just that though, it's also startups as well. And so who does this really affect? I don't think it affects the big businesses, because the big businesses are so big. So really, why is the CCPA such a big deal? There really isn't a law like this, and there hasn't been one ever really in the existence of the internet where it's a true hey, stop on collection of data on the internet, on any sort of company, yada, yada, yada. This is the first of its kind. It's really the precedent. And obviously there's going to be lots of kinks and lots of shortfalls and mistakes and things that need to be amended in this. And so there's a 6-month grace period in this where companies can kind of get their crap together, or lawmakers can sort of adjust to see, what they need to make better, what they need to take out, all that sort of stuff. Now, one of the biggest things in this law is actually the de-identification. The de-identified, the anonymized, the aggregated, the not personally identifiable information. So basically, you can opt to sell out of your data, but at the same time, if it's all de-identified, anonymized data, then people or companies can still sell that information, because now it's not personally tied to you. So let's say for me, right, James Penley, I live on 123 Main Street. I go to Taco Bell 4 times a week, all this sort of stuff, right? Now, personal identifiers there are James Penley, 123 Main Street, and anything else like that, 57, not really, that's So what companies can do is they can de-identify my information by saying, hey, you know what? Subject A, lives somewhere in this area, right? And they're 5'7" and they go to Taco Bell, 4 times a week, or whatever, the thing is. And now they can take that because it doesn't identify me and there's no personal identifiers towards me. So technically it's not my personal information. That's one of the things I saw in here, and I'm reading it right now, where it talks about that is the de-identified information. So it's not your name, it's not your birth date, it's not where you live, family members, all that sort of thing, phone numbers, emails, anything like that. If it's de-identified, if it's taken out, it's technically okay to sell. At least from these articles that I'm reading, that's what I'm getting a lot of. Overall, this is one of the 3 biggest bills that are coming out in California. I agree with this a lot. I think that this is really good, especially with setting a precedent. I just think that with all these laws coming out that are very consumer friendly and do not favor the business, yada, 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 all happening at the same time now, personally, I wouldn't blame businesses for moving their operations out of California or their servers or their workforce out of California into other states that don't have as many laws as here, right? I mean, you're talking about the AB5 contractor bill, so basically that one, which I'll talk about in another video as well, but the AB5 contractors turn into jobs, and now there's no jobs, they're just really getting fired. So that's something that was supposed to secure jobs is actually the reason why people don't have jobs, or companies are just not complying. Then you have, the rent control, obviously, so that doesn't make it favorable for investment companies, landlords that are here. And then thirdly is now this CCPA law, the consumer, what is it? The California Consumer Privacy Act, and that's really going to be focused on data collection, and major tech companies, even small companies. I think those are the ones that are going to be impacted by this the most, are the small companies out there that collect data and they actually sell that, and that's part of their revenue stream. I feel like they're going to get hit more than the big companies, only because, big companies, they make a crap load of money. Small companies have to be very efficient. So there's lots of laws coming out, and I don't think this is the perfect time or the right time in order to be rolling out so many consumer-friendly policies. I think it should be like incrementally or in steps. This is kind of too much, and I think that the CCPA Act is one of those. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying that there could be a better time to do it, and I don't think right now is the right time. But we'll definitely see what happens in the next 6 months. So for you guys out there, if you got this far, you're probably asking, what the heck, how does this benefit me? Well, now you can go to companies and say, hey, blah, 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 write them a letter, send them an email, write a request form saying, hey, I want to see what data you have on me. And from there you can say, okay, I want you to delete it and do not sell it, yada, yada, yada. You should be getting like a pop-up when you visit websites where they give you that option. It should be clear and obvious like that. But I hope you guys enjoy this video on the CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act, why it's beneficial towards you, sort of my thoughts on it, and some loopholes around it and all this sort of stuff. Let's see what happens in 6 months. Tell me if you agree with this law or if you disagree with it. I'm really curious to know, actually, because I've been talking among my friends, and some of them say it's good, some of them say it's bad. I'm really curious to see what you have to say about it. But guys, I hope you liked this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.